Ever been punched in the face at a gig? My friend Tod Woodward, aka Pro Muso on YouTube, actually was. But here's the crazy part. Instead of hiding it, he actually posted the footage online and basically said, I messed up, here's what I learned. If you do want to check out his video, I'll post the link below this one. Now that level of honesty is rare, and it sparked a big discussion in my community about how to handle hecklers, anger, or those unpredictable moments that every musician faces sooner or later. So I invited Tod onto one of our Pro Gig Academy weekly live calls to chat about what happened and the lessons behind it. Staying calm, reading a crowd, and keeping your professionalism when everything goes sideways. So let's get into it. Great to have everybody on. Tonight's going to be a good one, I think. We're going to talk about, initially anyway, something that, every live performer faces at some point in their career gigging, and that is difficult crowds, hecklers, those unpredictable moments that can throw you off, right? Which is what happened to Tod. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that. So great to have Tod on. For those of you who, I know I introduced him already in the post yesterday, but for those of you who don't know who he is, he's Pro Muso on YouTube, and Tod is full-time musician doing the pub and bar scene in Perth, Western Australia, doing everything from the pubs to the weddings and everything else. And now he's got his YouTube channel as well. And Tod posted that video last week, right? And I think it was you, Chris, who shared it, actually, wasn't it, in the group?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and you were like, wow, here's something that we can all, I guess, learn from, perhaps open a discussion on. So that's what sparked me to get Tod on. Now, me and Tod have actually been in touch for a few months. We hopped on a Zoom call months ago just to chat all things YouTube and everything else. But so tonight's kind of about replaying that moment for Tod, right? But we're not gonna dwell on it too much. But I want to open it up to the discussion on how to handle hecklers and how to keep your mind and body in check when things go wrong mid gig. Firstly, Tod, why don't you, firstly, thanks for being here. And I know a lot of people appreciate your honesty and the lessons that you shared in that video. So maybe you can start by telling us what inspired you to make the video in the first place and what the reaction has been like since then.
Yeah, no, thanks for that great intro, Finn. Yeah, look, I've been playing for 27 years now, live. Started out in a band with MIDI, as a lot of you guys will know, using MIDI for backing tracks. And I did that for a few years, was pretty successful in it, but I just could never find the right team. After my dream team, if you like, had sort of done its course, I couldn't really find good players because, a lot of the times when you're gigging in these places, there's a lot of competition from other bands, like full bands. So a lot of the good singers and players that you get will often just leave you at the drop of a hat for another band. So, and then not only that, but musicians who are just unreliable. I always wanted to do this as a full-time thing. And, most other people had jobs and it wasn't really a priority for them. So I ended up going solo. And I've been doing that for quite a few years now. And I got a fairly good name in the wedding industry. And, I managed to make enough money to buy a house. Well, not buy a house, but get a mortgage. And so I've been doing pubs and weddings and corporate gigs and parties and all kinds of stuff for a long time. And normally I can deal with the hecklers with a bit of humour, right? Normally I've got a few one-liners that I can use and I'll throw them out there, and sometimes they land, sometimes they don't. But this one night in particular, which was last Saturday night, I'm playing a really nice venue actually, and there's one woman there and she's just been a pain in the ass, just kept shouting out, play Elvis, play Elvis. And I said, I don't do any Elvis, love, And she kept saying it after every song. And I'm sure all you musos can relate to people like that who just shout out the same song. And so I'll say something like, what are your fucking ears painted on or something? And normally it'll get a laugh, but didn't get a laugh. But she just kept going. And I just ended up saying over the mic, you know, you'd be a pain in the ass to live with, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
And nothing really happened from that. She left the room, but one of her friends got a bit upset that I'd said that, and she was sort of having a go at me. And, you know, it's always that thing where hecklers, they can give it, but they can't take it. So I sort of gave it back to him. I was a little bit harsh. And, you know, I'm sure probably all of you have said to people, well, if you don't like it, you know, there's the door. But, you know, in my vernacular, it was a little different. And then, but I didn't realise, right? I didn't realise that she was with a whole bunch of other people there. We call them bogans in Australia, and it's probably what you call rednecks in America or whatever, just the real rough types. You know, but I didn't realise she was with a whole group of people, and they basically, you know, just started shouting abuse at me and stuff. And if you saw the video, you saw what happened. I reacted with the speed of someone who's drunk, and didn't even see the punch coming. And he whacked me, and he got me good. And then I was really angry, and then I went for him, and they all just mobbed me, right? I'm just in a melee with these people, right? Just throwing punches, and I'm getting hit, but there was no security there, which is a big thing, right? This is a big venue. It's very popular place, and yeah, and when I come to think of it, I don't think I've ever seen any security there. And there was a security guy there I saw in the footage, but he pissed off as soon as it started. So it was basically them against me. And but, you know, at the end of the day, I look back and, you know, I started it. I didn't start the violence, but I started it with my words. And we've got to be very careful about our words, right? People say, it's just words. But, you know, words can kill, right? That's how shit starts. And, you know, from my perspective in my little bubble, you know, I'm a musician, and it's the plight of the artist, and I think everyone's going to understand. And, you know, I have a channel with all these people talking to me, and, you know, they're all musicians. They're all on the same page. But, you know, when you're out there in reality, it's not a bubble. It's real life. And so maybe I was a little bit, you know, maybe I just didn't realise, you know, the real world's out there, because I have a very solitary life, right? You can get caught in your own thoughts and stuff. And so I did realise after, I just got to be careful with my words. If I hadn't piped up and told them to fuck off, you know, excuse my language, but if I hadn't said that, the whole thing wouldn't have kicked off. And, you know, I've been in that position thousands of times, and I've overcome it with humour, but it just got me at the right time. It had all culminated, and I was just pissed off, and I'm like,
yeah,
just piss off. And I just lost my temper.
Yeah.
And you just cannot do that on stage. And so my channel, it's called Pro Muso, and I was anything but a Pro Muso on that day. So, you know, and the reason you asked me, Finn, the reason I put it up was because I really like helping people. Like, I like getting messages from people, and I help them with gear and certain advice and things. And I think if you're going to be honest, and I've always been a very, very honest person, to my own detriment, but I think being very honest about the things that can go wrong, not just the things that can go wrong, but, you know, showcasing even a guy who's been doing it nearly 3 decades can still stuff up, right? So I thought it was important that I showed. It's a bit embarrassing. I got punched in the head and I didn't even move. So it's embarrassing, but I think it's important for people to understand, you know, if they're in a little bubble or something and they think that maybe the world will understand. The world doesn't. The world's got their own problems. Everyone's got their own problems out there. So, I'm sorry if this was the extended version, but I mean, that's basically why I put it up there, because I don't want anyone else to go through that. So maybe they can learn from my black eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that in detail. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the floor to some questions or contributions on all of that or any of that. So feel free to jump in. So you can see Hans has got his hand up. If you want to jump in, ask a question, say anything, go down to the bottom of the screen, click react, and then click raise hand, and then you'll get a hand up in the screen, and then I'll know.
Oh, I see.
I'll know that you wanna jump in. So I'm gonna jump to Hans, and yeah, we'll get the chat going.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Tod, I appreciated that you were honest and you owned it. And I read your comments, and it's like, my question is, have you moved on? Did they kick you out, or how is the community there? I mean, like, the friends are probably not your friends, but how does it continue for you?
Oh, look, I'm over it. It took me a week, after something a little bit dramatic. You always have that anxiety and that adrenaline dump afterwards, and you go through all these scenarios. And what happened there? Did we lose Hans?
No, I'm here.
All right, okay, some light went off. Oh, it's my thing.
Happens.
So I have a very solitary life. I live alone. I have very, very few friends that I talk to, so I can't really talk to anyone about it. But time has a way of fading things into the background. And I mean, I've done 4 gigs since then. I did a gig the day after that, right? And I was just a mix of angry and disappointed in myself, because I was very unprofessional. But as far as the venue goes, I didn't get any support from them. They didn't even contact me. I contacted them. I had one woman as a point of contact, and I contacted her and I said, look, I'm sure you know what happened on Saturday night. I do apologize for being unprofessional. I'll be sure to take myself off your roster, because they had a whole bunch of gigs booked for me, not only at that venue, but other venues. And I just thought I would get in first and say, look, I'll take myself off your roster. Doesn't really worry me, because I've got plenty of work. But she did come back and she said, oh, thanks for saying that. She didn't address the issue. And so I took that moment to say, look, I felt I was very let down, because you had no security. And it could have been stopped a lot earlier. And I was left to fend for myself. It could have been a lot worse. Had it been a lot worse, I would have pressed charges. But I thought, this one I'm going to take on the chin, and I'm going to learn from it so it doesn't happen again, because it was a little bit scary. When I got punched, I don't know how many of you have seen the video, but the guy's right in front of me. So it looks like it's obvious that I saw it coming, but I remember when I got punched, because, one of the things is, sometimes I'll have a few too many drinks. I'm enjoying the gig and I'll have a few too many drinks. And, I just can enjoy the gig more if I have a few drinks. And I just did not see it. I didn't even know where it came from. I remember getting hit, going back and going, oh, my God, I've just been king hit. Where did that come from? It wasn't until I turned around and saw the guy mocking me that I realised it was him. So, not having your faculties is not a good is not a good thing. But it's amazing how you can have the blinders put on you by a few drinks. So it makes me think, well, maybe my performances are not as good either if I'm that slow to react. But I hope that answers your question, Hans.
Yeah, live and learn. Like I said, you owned up to it, and that's recommendable. And I made a comment in the past. I'm not sure whether it was yours or was Finn's. I don't drink anymore. I want to joke around, not less. No, I don't drink anymore. But especially During and before the gig, I don't. After the drink, maybe I have a beer, but not during and then before. You know, I know what it is. I know what it is.
I tell you what, it's kind of almost an oxymoron for me, because the reason I have a drink is so people like that don't piss me off. You know, I can get on the same page. You know, when you're drunk, you know, when you're sober and you're with a whole bunch of drunk people and they start talking shit and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing here? So I'll have a couple of drinks just to get in that zone. But that turned against me. I did have too many that night.
That's such a good point. Thanks for the question, Hans. I'm going to jump next to Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hey there, Hey, Tod, nice to meet you. I don't mean for this to sound hokey, but I think it was really brave of you to put that video out there and, you know, and talk about that. I think it's you know, your lesson learned, but it also helps us. I gig maybe once, twice a month. And I have a full-time job, so I'm not a full-time musician. So I haven't experienced that, but I have friends who are full-time musicians. And I think something you said, well, first of all, I had a question for you, and that is, I know you talked to the venue. Are they having you back, or what's the deal there?
No, they're not having me back. They're not having me back.
Right.
No.
All right. Sorry to hear that.
But thank you, Sean. I do appreciate that. And you know, I got to take a little bit. You know, I've had a couple of people say you should have charged him. You should have, and technically it was assault. But when I look back at the video, I just realised how arrogant I was on stage, and that's not going to go down well with anyone who doesn't know your history, right, or why you're there. I even tried to explain it to them afterwards, and I tried to say, look, I've been gigging for 30 years. I often get, and they're just saying, shut the fuck up, you bloody idiot. Yeah. And, you know, there's no talking to people, especially in the moment. But, you know, on reflection, it was embarrassing to watch. And it was a bit of a risk to put it up there too, because I honestly thought most people would see it the same way. But I think because most of you are musicians and you've been in front of crowds and you know what the reality is, what you have to put up with, I think people just understand that sometimes you hit a point, you just go, screw this, and you push back a little bit. So that's why they understand, I think.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I was going to say, I'm not a full-time musician at present, but I have dear friends who are full-time musicians, and I've been at their gigs where people start getting mouthy with them and they start giving it back. And I guess my question/comment is, as a full-time musician, how difficult is it, you know, every day of the week to get up there and play and have to deal with that? And what, besides drinking, what else have you done for yourself to try to control yourself so that you're not getting into the situation you got into, if that makes sense? Yeah,
good question. I think that a lot of the time in my downtime, because I'm an emotional person, right? I can go from 0 to 100 just on the road if someone's tailgating me. But when you really break it down, you've got to think to yourself, is it worth it? I mean, people have died in road rage incidents from someone cutting them off in traffic. I mean, and how incredibly, I'm trying to think of the right word, but how incredibly unfortunate that is, that something that could have been nothing turned into, you know, a death or something like that. And that's the extreme case. But in order to deal with it, so I'll often think to myself, it's their energy, right? If you react to it, you're reacting to their energy. So I'll try and just think to myself, okay, here's a dickhead that's trying to get a rise out of me. And often I can do it with humor, right? Often I can embarrass them in front of their friends with certain things I'll say on stage that just come to me. But it didn't work that night. And so what I'm taking away from that, and the gigs that I did this week, I was very mindful to be very friendly to the crowd and not too. Sometimes I can get a little sweary and I can get a little sarcastic with people, which works most of the time. But there's a fine line between being sarcastic and being insulting. And so I just think that it's a big lesson for me. And I think in the future, I'm just going to be wary and knowledgeable of what can happen, especially when they're in a group. All right. Especially, I do a lot of weddings and people are all in their groups and stuff. And I've had a few incidents at weddings as well. I nearly strangled a guy once, and I've nearly gotten fights at weddings. And fortunately, it hasn't gone that far. But I dare say if it did, you'd get the mob on you, So maybe it was a blessing in disguise. And so if I can give you guys any advice, just think before you start trying to be too funny, trying to be too sarcastic. And if it does go that way, just try and bring it back, because you never know what can happen.
Thanks, Todd. I was going to say, in a country where just about everything could kill you, do you really want to take those chances? I've always wanted to go to Australia, but yeah.
It's really not that true. Everyone says that about Australia, but it's not that true.
Great.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean.
Chris.
Going to bring in Chris next.
Just learning how to figure out the unmute button there. Again, Todd, thanks for being here. And I think there's a lot that we can all learn. There's a lot going on in that video, and it brings in points that I think apply even outside of the gigging.
Absolutely.
One thing that strikes me, I know you have a background in law enforcement. Saw in one of your videos. I was a corrections officer for a while, and noticing that this all started with a drunk woman. I would just comment that from my experience as a corrections officer, 60-year-old drunk women love to fight. And I'm happy to say that I'm undefeated, but there's
man, being a corrections officer, I did a bit of that in the law courts, and you cop more shit than anyone, more abuse from a lot of tough guys inside. And so hats off to you for being able to do that. I couldn't do that.
Well, the thing about my experience is that, corrections officer, that's a controlled environment, relatively. You're out in the wild and
Sure.
running into that. You don't know who she's with. You don't know what they're capable of. It reminds me of a story that a friend of mine told me after he witnessed a cab driver being pulled out of the driver's side window of his cab, is that you never know who you're dealing with, and we all need to be careful about that. And as everyone has said, kudos for taking credit where credit is due, but at the same time, it's not just you, right? I mean, it's the crowd. They were in the wrong as well. There's wrong on all sides in this, but they were in the wrong as well. And like you said in the video, they don't see the years of tolerating that crap, that you've had to do. And of course, obviously the other side of it is you don't see what, where they're coming from, but yeah, there's that. So I thank you for sharing that video. And I think we can all learn from that. We've all got to be careful and just, if it comes to that, take a break, obviously, and, try to walk away. Obviously, you can't always do that, but I guess the main point here is, I think you're taking the right steps, and you're trying to help other people avoid those kind of mistakes. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's like I say, I think that people who are creative people are very generally emotional people, or maybe sensitive people. I don't know. I think that's got a correlation to creativity, because a lot of the people that I know are quite sensitive, are very creative. So it's easy to become emotional on stage. The funny thing about that night is I was about to do the last song. The night had been really busy. It was right at the end of the night. and I should have just shut the hell up. It was the last song. I was about to do the last song, but you know, I'm glad it happened. To be honest, I'm glad it happened. And you know, the other thing is, for me, I was very small as a little kid, right? I matured late for a teenager, and I was a head shorter than everyone. I'm 6'2" now, but at the time I was a head shorter than everybody else, and I kind of got bullied a little bit. I was small. I had knobbly knees. I was skinny. I used to have to run around in the shower to get wet, you know, and people would pick on me, and I'd have to take it, right? I'd have to take it a lot, and I backed down a lot of the times. And those formative years, they come into the forefront as an adult, right? And you start thinking, and sometimes as an adult, you sort of take a bit of shit and you don't react, and then you go home and you spend a week going, I should have punched that guy or whatever. And that also builds up too. It's about sticking up for yourself, you know. So there was part of that. You know, we're very complex creatures, aren't we?
Right.
I don't know if this is coming up for anybody else here, but you know, when we had Randall on about a month ago or two, and the psychologist, and he was talking about learned behaviors from childhood. Like, that's what's jumping out to me here from what Todd is saying there. And how, yeah, like we learn so much that can really shape how we behave or how we react to things in our childhood. And that is, I think that's so relevant.
Yeah.
I've one quick question. Did you jump up and do your last song after you got punched up, or no?
Oh shit, no.
I'm just kidding.
No. I was going to get up and do "Hit Me with Your Best Shot," but
what was the last song going to be?
It was going to be a song called "Crossroads" by John Mayer, but I didn't get there.
Just kidding. Anyway, thanks for that, Chris. Great contribution there.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Randy, going to bring you in here.
Yeah, really great to have you on, Todd.
Hey, Randy.
Real quick, you know, and I'm sure that Finbar is already extended. We'd love to have you here as often as you are able to do it. You know, it's nice to have more people, so. But I just wanted. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit and flip the other side of the coin. And
yeah,
I was actually happy to see. This is a touch of a background. I've been a professional musician for decades also. And I was rooting for you in that video because I have been in that position so many times, you know, enough with dealing with drunk people, with dealing with belligerent people. The drunk people are okay, you know.
It's the belligerent ones, yeah.
Right. There's a lot of happy drunks, and a lot of times they're what you're there for, you know. But the belligerent ones, and I knew how the video was going to turn out because I'd read what was going to happen. But you know, I was rooting for you to really land a couple because I felt that, and I've been in that position before myself, and I just wanted to kind of convey what everybody else has been saying. You know, it's a brave thing which you're coming forward and saying, look, you know, as much as you want to do that, good idea not to, you know, and so, and my question was how did your equipment get destroyed or?
No, fortunately, and I just got a new guitar. It's a $4,500 top of the line Maton, and so I was really glad that did not get damaged. But you know, gear these days is pretty sturdy. I mean, the mixer fell off, my table there fell off. When they pushed that glass on there, it smashed. I cut up my elbow. I don't know if you can see it, but
holy mackerel! Yeah.
Oh, no, it's really healed up well, but you know, and I had blood everywhere, and you know, I was on my ass, and the gear went everywhere. But fortunately, it all it all survived pretty well. Like I said, I did a gig the next day, and I was a bit worried that everything might not have worked, but they're pretty good these days. I've spilled pints of beer on my TC Helicon. Full pints smashed on it, and it just dried off, and it works again. So no, I was lucky, but I mean, I don't have much fiddly stuff. Just a pedal board, and they're pretty rigorous. But
Right.
no, I appreciate it. And it's funny you say that, because when I spoke to Finn the other day, he was nice enough to leave a message for me. And when I see Finn's videos, Finn is very calm and very measured. Doesn't seem very emotional. And he said the same thing as you did. He goes, I was rooting for you to hit the guy. So I was a little bit surprised by that. But, I think we can all relate. But thank you, my man.
Oh, my pleasure. It's really great having you on. And like I say, I'm sure Finbar is going to express the same thing to you. And hopefully, you'll come back and
look,
have
absolutely
better stories to tell.
I can talk about this stuff ad nauseum, all right? And I'm sure shortly we'll get onto some other stuff, because we don't want to talk about this or not, but just all kinds of experiences that, and that's why I started the channel, is because I just wanted to help other people, because people look at us, don't they? They look at us and they go, and I'm sure they're just thinking, that's easy. That's easy what you do. And they don't know all the hundreds of songs and the thousands of solos that you've worked on that don't even get it to your set list, let alone the ones that do. And so I think it's really nice to have a community, and hopefully we can build it. Maybe we can do this like on a regular thing, and build the community. And I love talking to other musicians, and I just don't get to, because I'm a soloist and I never get to see other musicians. And over the years, I've lost touch with just about everyone in my life. And, my family they're not just not wired. They're not interested in my music. They never have been. And like I said, I have very few friends. And so this is great for me to be able to talk to other musicians all around the world, hear your accents.
Yeah.
And
you have one too.
Just talk to all you lovely people. I think it's great.
I agree, Todd, and that's one of the reasons I really love getting on the chat every week. Finbar has really built up a great community, and and that's one thing you'll find, I think, if you get to tune in very often at all, is that this is a place where musicians belong, because I'm a lot like you. I don't have a bunch of friends. I don't have, I'm a musician, and you can understand that fact. And a lot of people here, we have a big common thread, that a lot of us are introverts. A lot of us don't have a lot of friends. A lot of us take our craft very serious. So, it's really, really nice to have you in. And I thank you for listening to me. And there's plenty of other people that want to talk. So,
oh no, good on you, mate. I love your accent. Are you from California?
No, I'm not. I was born in Ohio, but I haven't been back to Ohio in probably 25 years. Because I've been playing all over the world, and I lived in Florida for a while. I live in Minnesota right now. I lived in California. I've lived in Seattle. It's where I'm at the moment. That's where my home is. So
yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and it's great to meet you. And thank you for making me feel, at home with all you guys as well.
Great. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Randy. There's a guy with a lot of experience who's got to have seen it all. So great to hear from you there, Randy, on that one. Going to jump to Andreas next. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Fine, thanks. Thanks, Tom, from me too. And actually, I get when I heard you're on, and I've seen a few videos of yours, and I love them really. Thanks for all the stuff you're putting out there.
Thank you.
And I thought last night, yeah, there's this video, okay, and I know I'm on the, but what do I have to see? I know he's got punched, but yeah, I gotta see it, and I'm happy, and I'm really happy for because I was not like the other guys, you know, come on your side, because when I watched the video, because you were so showing all the footage and really led us through it, which is really amazing. It was really amazing. But I was like, hey, come on, you're talking, you know, find another solution. And I was not on your side, actually.
Yeah.
I've seen it that you could have done otherwise. But in the end, you framed it and you put the blame on you. And that is really brave. And that is a great takeaway. But yesterday, but now you also said it. You got, and that's the point I want to make mostly is you got no help from the venue, you know, and you were there, and you could see it in the video. You were there really alone, you know, and whatever you did, you know, that's a main point. Because I had one situation which was, I mean, I'm not like have that all experience, but I had one situation which could have turned out a little bit similar. Very annoying guy, you know, who insisted on having his song, and even when I said like 3-4 times, sorry, I mean, I play a lot of stuff, but I don't have it in my repertoire. And he was like smiling at me, come on, play it. He was I'm glad that I made the decision to ask somebody, because, well, it was the venue. It was always also like people I knew. So it was also different. But I said, somebody take care of it, please. I can't talk to this guy. Usually I'm also having no problem. Like I'm sure you have, you know, like you said, you have tons of experience in talking to people and changing the situation in a playful way. I'm quite sure that's what the kind of guy you are. But with that kind of, you know, stubborn drunkenness, you cannot just deal, because it also affects everybody else. You know, in this case, well, of course, there were friends of hers around, but usually that's the bad thing about it. Even if it doesn't turn wild, it affects the whole arena.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And
I had help, and you didn't. And that's, I think, one of the main, you know, substantial takeaways, you know. Get help from the venue for even if you can't handle the situation. That's what I take away. That's what in my situation was. And well, if you don't, which was sadly in your case, the case, I remembered right now. I have a little bit of coaching experience, and I come from acting. So I sometimes I help people who had uncomfortable situations to face with, you know, beforehand. And I gave them the advice, and it actually turned out well for all of them. If you're facing a strange situation that you cannot deal with, get into another character. Just don't get out of yourself and be someone else, so you can observe yourself. This is I'm trained with that, so but even for untrained people, it seemed to have worked. So to get a bit out of the situation, of course. Like you said, when you're drunk yourself, okay, that's harder to take as an option. But it might lighten your own emotions, maybe in some kind of that situation, so that you don't see somebody else as an enemy anymore. You know. So
what would you tell? What would you tell yourself? So you put yourself in my position, and and you did the right thing by getting someone else to deal with it, because. You know, that's obviously the best way. Mind you, I didn't have anyone that I could even ask, but what would you have done in that situation to get me out of that mindset of being aggressive and going, fuck the world? And
when I was you, if I was you, what do you mean?
Yeah. What advice would you give me for if you knew that was going to happen at my next gig, in the exact same scenario? What would you tell me in order to be able to get myself into a new character?
Yeah. Maybe as a preparation, you know, have something, always have something that you can, like an island, go to, you know, in a situation where like, okay, I'm now here, you know, I'm not here anymore where I sit right now, I'm here, you know, and I look at it like an observer from
Yeah,
there.
right.
And this place is your safe place, or that your good place, or the place of your good memories of you being a musician, of your highlights. You know, when you said, "Come on, you know, this situation is shitty," but you know, I've been to, and also a bit, you know, like saying, "Come on, you guy, you're sucking now, and you don't know anything about me," you know. So because I've been there where you will never come to, you know, you're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
in the position to go there, and so to butter up yourself a bit like that, you know, and
yeah,
but that's hard to say because I'm not you.
yeah. It's,
But I've trained. Actually, I talked about in the session that Finbar talked about with Randall. I talked a little bit about what I learned from theater is this kind of playful, you know, what you usually, of course, use, you know, playfully being above somebody else in a playful way. You know, if you say, "Come on, asshole," you know, but in a playful way, that
yeah,
nobody gets
yeah.
offended. You know, what do you do with when you have fun with your friends? You know, I got one of the best lines I've ever learned from socially was from Keith Johnston, our improv guru, who said, acquaintances who play status games with each other, and status games are always this playful being above and down,
Yeah,
you know, become friends, you know, because they share the same kind of humor.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And I sometimes, what I did actually, which turned out to be very well for me, is if somebody kind of offended me or treated me badly, but I could realize, okay, they are not in the situation right now to realize it or to talk about it, I was overly friendly with them, which kind of surprised them because they were like thinking, oh, maybe
waiting
now
for some defense.
And I took my own kind of strength in, because it was my reaction, you know. My reaction is, it's my choice.
Yeah.
And I put myself in a very overly friendly, which could for somebody else seem weak, but it was my choice. And I put the other one on the wrong foot then. So it turned out to be my advantage in the end, because it was I could empower myself by that, because I know this is the choice I'm making, and this is kind of a rule of thumb for all situations which might turn awkward. Is make it your own choice and don't leave the choice to the other guy.
Yeah, and it's all about not taking on their energy, right? But
right.
I think in certain circumstances, once the horse is bloody bolted, it's hard to come back. It's hard to come back from it, especially when you know you're on stage and everyone's looking at you. And I mean, I think in theory that sounds good, but I don't know if I could have done that. I think I just what I should have done is gone, look, I'm sorry, I went overboard. I do apologize, and that's all. And that's all you can do, because you know, just. I know what you mean, but I think in situations like I was in, where it's about to get violent, it's way past that point. Is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it's different kind of stages. That's what I meant. I mean, that was so helpful about the video, because you can see the different stages when you went through.
Yeah,
and then everybody can. Yeah, everybody can see for himself when how could I react in that situation.
Yeah,
That's
reverse it for 10 minutes, and I could have used that. Yeah, and that's what I should have done. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. No, thanks, Andreas.
You know, what's just come up for me there was when you were talking through it there, and if you think back to how it escalated, Tod, and how it was incremental step by incremental step. You know, it just gradually escalated and escalated. The point at which you turned kind of aggressive. It's like at that point, it was no longer about this woman, because you started saying things like, I've been doing this fucking too long for this bullshit. And it's no longer about the woman. It was actually about the suppressed fucking anger of the years of dealing with this. It wasn't
Yes.
about her anymore. It was just it was
No.
actually the culmination of suppressing these feelings that we all have as musicians, and never unloading it in a healthy.
Yes. Yeah, you're spot on, Finn. Spot on. Yeah.
So yeah, it begs, you know, the question then, what is the right way to deal with that? That, you know, everybody absorbs stress in their job, right? For us, that's one of the aspects of stress. How can we as musicians process that in a healthy way so that it doesn't cause us to flip the lid? Because that's what happened. It was a flip.
Yeah.
Switch
Yeah,
went.
that's right. And, you know, I think that putting that video out there is yeah, might save someone from reacting. They might think in that split second, I better not. You know, I remember what happened to that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad it happened to me because I won't make that mistake again.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone who's never experienced it, you know, it probably doesn't seem like too much of a big deal. I'll be able to handle it, but it can get out of hand really fast.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to jump to Bart. You've been waiting a while, Bart.
Hey, Bart.
By the way.
Hey, Tod. We are cheering you from France.
Oh, hello.
Given your story, we've decided to do it with water and not with wine. Okay. so let me. A lot has been said about what happened to you and about the video that you put online. A lot of respect for what you did. Enough of that for me. I just wanted to say Pro Muso is for me one of my absolute favorite channels.
Oh, thank you.
You are a fabulous narrator. The way you tell your stories to us is just fabulous. Every time when you're online, I really watch it and I just laugh my head off all the time. So you've got friends around the world, my friend. Don't worry. You've got a lot of friends. You got a lot of friends. But I have a question for you. And the question is as follows. This year, we had several gigs where I was really outspoken, maybe heckling the other way around. I was really outspoken to the audience about what's happening in the world. And we often sing protest songs, we sing Bob Dylan, we sing that sort of stuff. So this summer, I was really outspoken about, you know, the Gaza situation, on stage talking about Netanyahu being a war criminal, should be behind bars. Talking about Trump, sorry if there are any Republicans in the audience, but talking about Trump being an asshole and what he's doing to the world and so on and so forth. Fortunately, we drew applause most of the times when we were making these comments. But I'm just wondering, do you ever engage in that sort of dialogue with your audience, or do you deliberately refrain from that?
I deliberately refrain.
Okay. Curious to know what others think about this.
Yeah. I mean, you start talking about political stuff, you're treading on dangerous ground. You know what I mean? Because half the audience are going to be one way and half the audience is going to be the other. I mean, look what happens to all these celebrities now that are going one way or the other. They've lost half their audience. And it's not something that I think is part of our job description to be, because I am very political in my beliefs as well, but once you share them in public, well, it depends on your situation, right? Like I have a channel. I don't want to talk one way or the other on it. I don't want people to know what I believe because they're going to judge me for it. And I want people to judge me based on my musicianship, my performance. I don't want people to have a preconceived idea if they really like me or if they really don't like me based on my political beliefs. So I don't think it's our place.
Mm-hmm.
I get.
It depends on the gig, though. I don't know what kind of gigs you do. You might be doing
we are mostly in lefties places.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's a bit easier to make these kind of statements there.
Yeah,
on the other hand, if we go back in history and we look at let's take Dylan as an example. It was nothing but protest songs, people speaking up against what they believe is wrong in the world. So are you saying we should not be doing this, or should we dare to be outspoken about what we believe?
I think as a cover musician, it's not our place. I think if you're a well-known musician. Maybe it is, but I think back in the 60s and 70s, it was a very different time. People are very vitriolic these days, and the world is very, very divided. I just think if you want to protect your own reputation as a musician, which has nothing to do with politics, if you're a cover musician, it's probably best left unsaid, I think.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. But thank you so much for your compliments. I really appreciate it.
Ah, you're super.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, you're a very popular guy, Tod. As somebody else commented yesterday on when I said that you were coming on, somebody commented and said that you phoned them once to help them with a tech problem.
Oh yeah.
So I don't even remember who that was, but yeah, you're genuine guy. So that's why you're welcome to the community, man. I'm going to
thank you.
I'm going to continue to who's Hans got his hand up again.
Hey Hans.
Yeah, okay. Well, the first while we were talking, I was shutting up for a little while. I would say young bloods. You know what I mean? At my age, I don't get into fights, but when I was at your age, maybe I did. And I was sometimes also the first one who punches. I'm a boxer, right? I'm not afraid.
Right.
So, you know, it's like, you know, don't fuck with me. And people get the vibe. Don't fuck with that guy. It's the wrong address, right? But now that I'm a little bit older and wiser, I hope, you know, more like psychology, you know, your choice of acting, reacting, or being proactive. And sometimes, you know, in situations like that, I call it a tango. 2 steps forward, 2 steps backwards, 2 steps sideways, you know. And then sometimes in situations like that, I just say, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for mentioning it. You know, just think of fucking weather or anything, you know, and that kind of disarms them. So there's no more aggression if you say, well, thank you, you know, I haven't thought about that, you know, good piece of advice, you know, thank you, you know, and that sometimes that diffuses the situation a little bit. Yeah. What else? Political, I think in Americans, I lived there for a while, we say, don't talk about race, religion, age, politics, and ideology in general. And I stay with that too, you know, because it's like, no, I mean, like if you want to have a discussion with me on a private level, we could, but I would never on stage start talking about like the current situation in the world and what happens, you know, like in a private situation, I open my mouth, I say what I think, but I would never do that on stage, you know.
Yeah.
Leave it alone, you know. I have ideas, but no ideology, you know.
Yeah.
The political thing doesn't go there either, you know. And then about age, you know, because I'm a little bit older now, right? I don't answer that question anymore. When somebody says how old you are, I look him in the face and say 59. Deal with it. You know what I mean? Because immediately you get put into a certain situation. Or you're too old, or too young, or you're too left, or you're too right, or you know, whatever happens. That whole prejudging thing, I'll take it out by not taking a stand. I have a stand, but I don't need to share it every time I talk to somebody, or especially not in a public situation like that.
Yeah. I agree with you, Hans.
Yeah.
I agree with you, my
let
friend.
go. Let it be. Let it be.
Yeah,
let it be.
yeah.
Let it be. You know. Let it
And
go.
I'm glad you've come to that point in your life too, because you remind me of my father. My father was a boxer as well, and he was a real tough guy in our town, and no one screwed with my dad.
No.
You know, the older he gets, the more mellow he gets.
Yeah.
About it as well, and I just think it's just part of maturing. It's part of how you grew up, and you know.
Yeah.
And I always felt, and that was also part of the frustration too. My old man being a champion boxer, and me never having gone into that world, and always wanting to make my dad proud. And I remember a time where I was with my dad one time, and a guy piped up, and I was actually really sick at the time, and I didn't say anything to the guy. My dad and I were talking, and the guy sat on this guy's car, and he didn't know the guy was in the car, and the guy goes, "What are you doing?" You know. And anyway, and I didn't say anything, and later on, I just felt like that would have been a good chance to show my old man that I had some balls. You know what I mean? I didn't do anything, and I was sick, and so you're always trying to impress your parents, and especially if your old man's a real tough guy, you want him to be proud of you that you're his son. But so there's a lot of emotions that come up. Anyway, where are we? Chris.
Definitely. Thanks, Hans. Let's jump to Chris again.
So with the politics on stage, that's here in the States. We have a saying that Social Security is the third rail of politics, meaning that it's like grabbing the electrified rail of the subway system. It's going to kill you, right? So politics is probably the third rail of gigging. I wouldn't do it on stage. I have plenty of views, and they're not a secret, and they're not all popular. But I would leave that alone on stage. But that being said, I agree with Bart. That's enough of that. Let's talk about fun things now. So one thing that comes to mind is what's the most fun thing you've had that you've witnessed at a gig, and one of mine is it's probably not the top, but it's probably the one that I can share most readily in mixed company is we were playing this back in the 90s. I was playing this little dive bar in somewhere in Indiana. And these two guys were standing right in front of the stage. Well, and stage is in quotes, air quotes there. And they were at each other like this. And all of a sudden one guy reaches up and bites the finger of the guy who's doing that. And then it just kind of fizzled out. And afterwards I went up to the bartender and said, "What the hell was that about?" "Oh, they're brothers. They do that all the time. Don't worry about it." And in the middle of it, I had looked over at my bass player, and he had uncovered the 38 that he kept in his waistband. I was like, "Oh boy, this is going to be fun." So anyway, what's your most fun thing that you've seen?
Oh God, look, I don't know if, well, the fun. There's been many fun gigs that I've done that have really gone off, and I felt like a rock star, and everyone loves you, and everyone's coming up, pat you on the back, and there's a lot of those, and they happen. Every few weeks you'll get a really great one. They're fun, but I don't really. They sort of mold into one after a while. I can't really think of any. I've had a few funny things happen. I remember one time I was playing in a band, and this is back in the days where they used to have the telephone booths, not the full booth, but they'd have the box, like in the pub. There'd be a telephone. You put in a 20-cent piece and make a phone call. And I'm playing with a mate of mine who was a really good mate, incredible guitar player. Anyway, we just started, and there's a guy, and he's looking at us, and he's going, "What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm on the phone." And I'm like, this is the band who's been paid by the venue, and this guy is seriously looking at us, telling us to stop because he was on a phone call.
You got some nerve.
And I just remember laughing so hard with my friend Corms, laughing hard. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Really fun stuff. I've done gigs on the back of boats. I've done gigs on barges. Been on a barge out on the Swan River for Australia Day, and there's hundreds of thousands of people on the shore, and we're floating past on this barge full of speakers, and everyone's rocking on the shoreline, and we're singing Aussie, 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 and everyone's going oi, oi, oi. Done a lot of fun gigs. But yeah, what I get out of it is when you do one of those gigs and just everything goes right, your confidence is up, and you're playing, and everything's just going right, and you just seem to be playing beyond yourself a little bit. And, you know, I remember the amount of times, because I've always had confidence issues. You might not believe that, but I have. And so after every one of those gigs, I get in the car and I drive home, and I say to myself, you fucking did it again, Woody. You did it again. You nailed it. You know you can nail it. This is what you do. And it's just sort of affirmations, because, you know, we do have those moments where we're not very confident and things don't go as good as we thought they would, and you make a few mistakes here and there or whatever. But they're the fun ones for me when you feel like a rock star.
Mm-hmm. I think what's so great to see here, Tod, is, you know, I think anybody who puts themselves on YouTube, it kind of puts you on a pedestal in a way.
Yeah.
But the way you're speaking here, you know, you're just one of the guys. You're just a musician like everybody else. You have the same highs, you have the same lows, you have the same insecurities, you have the same shit gigs, the same good ones. You know, we're us being on YouTube, we're no different to anybody, you know. And I think that's
absolutely, yeah,
the beauty of it.
Yeah, well said. I think sometimes I wasn't sure how I'd feel doing this, because you know, all of my stuff is all, you know, I write out my scripts, I go over them, and I sound really funny. But you know, if you look at the cutting room floor, you know, when I go to edit, you'll see all the screw ups I make and silly mistakes I make, and you know, when I put it all together, I look like this complete, you know, guy who's got an answer for everything. But I'm not. I'm really not that much of a funny guy to begin with. And so I've just, you know, I'll tell you, I started the channel in, I'm too bloody honest, I should just say I'm a really funny guy. But I started in about 2020, right as COVID hit, and I started doing videos, and you know, I'd still write out the scripts, and I'd be like, oh yes, so this is a G chord, and the next chord is this, because I'd start off with a few tutorials, and I look at myself and I'm as boring as batshit, right? And it wasn't until this year really that I thought, I've got to do something different, because I wasn't getting any views. And I've been doing it 5 years, so I thought I'm going to try and put a bit of humor into it, because I can write humor. But I'm just not that quick-witted. I'm not as quick-witted as I'll have you believe. Put it that way, you know. And so you're right. People think, you know, that's what I was saying. You know, I was a bit apprehensive about getting on here because I would blow my cover. You know what I mean? But I'm real. You know.
Definitely
Finn,
not.
You're as real as it gets as well, mate, you know. And yeah, we're just normal people.
Yeah, well, I can definitely say, I'm sure everybody will agree, your personality that you're bringing through today on the call, that's what comes through in your videos. While you might,
it does.
Yeah, for sure. While you might be thinking, oh, you've added edits and you've added this and that, like, you're still coming across as the genuine Tod that we have on today. Like, that's for sure. So I wouldn't.
Oh, that's
Oh,
comforting. That's comforting.
100%, man. Andreas.
Yeah, it kind of. No, I say what I wanted to say. It's kind of a thing about what Bart asked, and I have one that I haven't heard so far. That's why I still say it. To me, music is one of the few things, sadly, but at least music is one of the things that usually we have in common. You know, that's a common ground for everybody. So, actually, this is why, and this is also why I'm doing this.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm writing a novel right now, but I'm not really into writing songs because I think there's so much good stuff out there. And actually, it's what I like about it is to see that there's something happening when we share this kind of emotional quality we see in music. And then we are the performers then in that situations, and the others are the listeners. But this is a really great emotional common ground we share. And this is why, to me, this talk now today with you, where we have a situation where this common ground breaks, for a reason, for an emotional reason also. But the other side is the great stuff about it. This is the music is, to me. I mean, I don't see any other thing that more people have in common than kind of the music they like.
Yeah.
And this is so important in these days. That's why I don't. This is, even if I probably am more on Bart's side political wise than. But I wouldn't be outspoken about it, because I don't want to. I want to nourish that kind of common ground we have. I want to be the bridge builder in this situation, and I want to think, at least, that this kind of makes the world a better place for a few moments, or maybe for more. Which is, we have to nourish, and that's probably the best takeaway we have from today, or I have. That. We see that there are situations where this can break, and I'm very glad that you shared this with us.
No, well said.
But the other side is the great thing we can build, in sharing our ability to make music, which most people admire. That we do have the courage to do it, go on stage, that we have the skills and whatever, and our take, or what we can give to the people is to build as many of those situations where we can be happy with music together.
Yeah, well said. That's real community driven, and I think it's important, because we all have differences politically or whatever, but we're all, we all have that common ground, that common denominator of music that we can all agree on. And I think these, the advent of technology is fantastic, that we can all get together like this and make new friends. And, hopefully we can do this more often. And for me, in particular, it's a great case study, really, because, like I said, I got no one in my life. No one. I go through a week and I don't even talk to another human being, And I go out to my gigs and it's all whang, bang, thank you, ma'am, go out. And I get home and it's just silence. It's me and my little doggies. And that's it for another week. So, just having the opportunity and I just want to say, Finn, as soon as I reached out to Finn, because, when you start these channels, you look at your competition or your niche, and I really liked, as soon as I started talking to Finn, I thought we have a connection, and I feel like Finn is one of my good mates now, and without technology, it wouldn't be possible. And I'm sure there's probably a few others out there, maybe even on this call, that are pretty lonely in their lives, and just having this little bit, and maybe I'm doing too much talking here. We should let other people.
Today only.
Not at all.
Today only, yeah.
You're the special guest, Todd, so you can milk it as much as you want.
How you doing there, Bernie? You're sitting back there nice and quiet.
Hi, Todd.
How are you, mate?
Very good. I have to tell you, I absolutely love your channel. I've been watching it. Every time you put out a video, I get a notification, and I don't know, you say you're not funny on the spot, but I have to tell you, if I'm depressed, I just have to put on one of your videos and I'm laughing by the end for sure.
Thank you, mate. I get a lot of comments like that. It really does make me happy that I can give someone a laugh, and someone who's in the same game who can totally relate to that. Because, when things happen at the time, they can be a little stressful or a little depressing when you think about them after. And then other people have gone through them as well, and then the comedy makes sense then, right?
Yeah.
Misery loves company.
Anyway, it's great channel. I love what you do.
Thank you, Bernie.
Steve, did you have your hand up? Is it gone back down?
I did. I was just going to say a couple of smart ass things, but hey, Todd, glad to have you with us. I'm from the U.S. Never had the pleasure to go to Australia, but I've been to Outback Steakhouse, so it's kind of the same thing.
Oh, hi, Steve.
I did want to say I'm kind of going a different direction than everybody else on this, but I blame Elvis. Can we all agree his stuff is shit? And there was no reason for you to play that for her anyway.
Yeah, totally overrated.
That's it.
Thanks,
So glad
Steve.
you're here.
Definitely.
You're now my friend.
Andy, are you there? We can see a hand up. Don't see you on the camera, but hand is up, I think. If you're listening in, Andy, you're muted. I'll give you a second. Don't see him coming in. So if you want to come back in at any point, Andy, just give us a shout. On the topic of Tod's channels, the video I think that you put up that got my attention, or that I saw first, that made me follow you, was the one where you did it was like 10 things that only musicians get, or only musicians understand. That's the one that had me like really laughing. I remember one of the points was when you rock into a gig and you're playing in like a corner of a pub and there's people sitting there and you're like, fuck, I've got to go tell these people to move.
Oh man.
That pisses me off if the staff don't do it. So I will always insist that the staff go tell them to move. It shouldn't be my job to tell them to move, because as a musician, you almost feel like you're starting off on a negative foot by asking them to move. But anyway, that was the video that I saw one time that I was like, this guy is seriously funny. And you know, I know we've chatted about Andy, are you back?
Yeah, hi Finbar. Can you hear us?
Yes.
That's good. That's grand. Hello, Tod. Good afternoon. Yeah,
Hi,
fat
Andy.
finger syndrome. Yeah. Excuse me.
No worries.
Tod, when you first come on the call and I was thinking about it, I watched your video and stuff, and I thought, well, okay, yeah, you got what was coming and all that sort of stuff, and I think you've been very humble and very grown up and moving forward. But a couple of things I picked up on the call, and one of them being, mate, is that if you're ever in that situation again, and I mean this, and I'm sure probably other people out there think the same, don't be on your own, man, right? Yeah? If ever you're at a gig and you're in the shit like that, just come on this community, post something on there. I know it sounds daft. Take a break, right? My details are on there. Get my details, right? Just pick the phone up, ring me. Don't, if it gets that shit, because we all have bad days and we're all human beings, just reach out to someone, you know, because you never know, I might need the same help one day, you know.
Yeah.
So just do that, pal. All right, and I don't mean
Good
that
on
in a
you.
nasty way. I
Thank
mean
you,
that in a
Andy.
blessing way. Okay, pal.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because sometimes you just get bogged down in your own thoughts, don't you? And you start going through scenarios in your head, and you know, because it's just all silence here all the time. And I do find it cathartic to be able to talk to people, especially people who understand. So thank you, Andy.
Yeah, so you're very welcome, and that goes out to anybody out there. You know, we shouldn't suffer in silence. You're great at what you do, and you enjoy it. But clearly, you must have had some things on your mind. That person got to you, and you'll have other days like that, because we all do. And just listening to you on the call. So don't be a stranger. Build alliances as you're doing now, and forget all the professional bollocks and the ego stuff. Let's just try and help each other out, you know, as human beings. And we do share something. We have got something in common, and we love music and stuff and entertaining people. So that's really, really cool, man. Okay, that's what I really wanted to add in. Yeah. Okay,
Good on you, Andy. And I think the more we do this, the more we'll get to know each other, and the more we'll kind of bond, and then feel more comfortable in doing that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And your dog, what's your dog's name, please? I might have missed it on the call.
Tessa. That one's Tessa. I got two dogs. Yeah.
Tessa and Tossa.
And Molly.
And Molly.
Tessa,
Okay, yeah.
Tessa.
Yeah. No, that's lovely. Are they sisters, brothers?
They're sisters.
I was going to say one of them's got a funny name if they're both sisters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tessa and Tossa.
Yeah.
That actually rolls off the tongue nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, Tod, I've got a dog. We had a Cocker Spaniel who's crossed with a Shih Tzu. Yeah, and people ask me, what is it? So I said, it's a crock of shit.
That's a crock of shit. I was waiting for it.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool. Right. back to you, Finbar. Bring it back into line, because otherwise I go off on a tangent as usual. Thank you very much, guys.
I like
Thanks,
you,
Andy.
Yeah,
Thanks, Andy.
mate.
Randy, bring you in again.
Yeah, I'm only going to take a second because I just wanted to extend to you that Finn's community, you no longer are without family. So we're really happy to have you here, Tod. And I know it's been the same for me. I felt familyless, if that's a word. But you now have a family that supports you. So
thank you.
I just I don't want to go into it too long because I got other people have to want to talk, and plus the call's getting along here. But you'll find very, very rapidly that this community is very supportive and very like-minded. So welcome. Really great
Thank
talking
you so
to you.
much.
Great
Thank you
having
so
you
much,
on.
my friend.
Okay.
You're a good man. Yeah, I can tell. Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Does anybody else want to jump in? Anybody who hasn't spoken or even question to ask Tod or anything at all before we wrap it up? Don't mind going a little bit over time today, considering we've got a special guest on. Anybody or even relate to any of that or anything at all? Buka, good to have you, man.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
Hey, Buka.
Hey, Tod. Nice to meet you. Sorry, I'm a little groggy. It's pretty early. Hey, great video. Love getting to meet you here. I love your videos too. They're killer. Hey, you got great lighting. You got great lighting there. What do you do? You got a video on that?
Sorry, my dog keeps tripping my thing. Are you talking to me, Booker?
Yeah, your lighting's
I recently bought a video light. I'll show you. Can I flip the screen?
Should be able to, yeah.
Flip the screen. I'm not sure. Oh, hang on. Not sure how to do it. I'll just turn it around.
If you just turn it horizontal, it should flip the screen if it's unlocked. Yeah.
Yeah. So I recently bought a video light. It's a constant light, and it's got a grid. It's got one of those good grid patterns on it. It's called honeycomb. I've been into photography for a few years, so but I mean, this is it's kind of like you'd use in still photography, because that grid there diffuses the light as it comes out, and it makes the light a lot softer on your skin. And sometimes, if you can see back here, I've got one of these. That's called a kick light, and that gives you. I mean, if you got hair, it's a lot better. But it gives you that. Obviously, I don't have it on at the moment, but I do use it in my videos. Is that what you're talking about in my videos?
Right, even right now, man. Right now, yeah. Like your video looks so pro.
Okay. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, it's. I was thinking about setting up the other ones as well, but it's just a honeycomb grid on a diffuser that's got a little motor behind it, which you can turn up and down. The power on it, and it also does like a tungsten color as well. But I like the studio white. But I hope that answers.
Yeah,
the
looks
question.
great. Yeah, your videos look incredible. I mean, they're super pro, obviously.
Thanks, mate.
It's in your name, but I was surprised to see how great your Zoom video looks super pro.
Yeah, it's the first time I've been on one of these calls, so I'm always a bit anal when it comes to lighting and symmetry, and I've always been that visually like that. I've got to get everything in looking right.
I could definitely killer. I could learn a trick or two from you, Tod, with the quality, camera quality, lighting, all that stuff. I'm very much beginner with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We
I
all
always
could.
think
That's
that,
why you should join the community, because we could all use that kind of
Yeah.
yeah,
tutorial from you.
yeah, yeah. It's something I got into photography at about the same time I got into the videos, and I taught myself just off other YouTube videos of the exposure triangle, and I bought a whole bunch of camera gear and stuff like that, and then unfortunately I lost my life savings in crypto, and I had to sell it all. So I've just got a skeleton crew of gear now. But yeah, I did go down that rabbit hole, and I've always liked Photoshop and design stuff. And I think when you're doing videos, this one's a bad example, but if you see here, that's my brick wall there behind me, sort of thing. I like things to be.
Oh yeah.
I see a lot of other YouTubers doing videos, and there's crap all in the background. It's really distracting. They don't use a depth of field that blurs it out, and so I've always just been, when I watch videos like that, I'm like, that's annoying me. The line's not right. That's annoying me. Maybe it's a bit anal, but it's just
it's a creative thing. It's
creative person, I think.
It's a creative thing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, just going off what you said there, that with the background, that's your videos in particular have been kind of inspiring to me to kind of clean up this mess back here, because this is my background wall that I'm using for my budding YouTube channel.
I'll tell you what.
I'll take your mess
Chris,
any day, Chris.
There's some symmetry in that, in all those guitars, and I think if you put some downlights underneath there and had them coming up, that'd really augment that, because there is symmetry in that, which is pleasing to look at.
I'll try that. I'm trying a few different ideas. So
awesome. How's that demo reel coming along, Chris?
Slow but sure. I had to take the weekend. I was hoping to make some progress on it this weekend, but I had to take the weekend and clean and declutter the space. I'm amazed at how much crap I took out of this room and put into the next room.
What's your channel, Chris?
It's acousticchris.com.
Do you have a YouTube?
Yeah, I do.
Page as well?
Yeah.
Let me quickly subscribe to you then.
If you join the community,
thank you,
Todd. We've got Randy posted a thread last week where everybody shared their links to the socials. Which
cool.
Could we? I wonder if we could pin that to the top, like you've done with some of the other community things. I
can see if I can do that now. There's a limit to how many pinned posts. I think it's 3.
Oh yeah.
But I can delete one now. I can delete the one where I said when we hit 3K members. That was a while ago, so I can find Randy's one and swap it. I'll do that right now after this call. Good.
Because I think there have been some additions to that.
Good idea.
I missed.
All it need. Yeah, we get somebody else to comment on it, and then it'll come to the top as well. But yeah, I'll pin it anyway. So then
I'll keep an eye on that because I can't see it here.
First thing that people see. All right. Is there anything else before we wrap up? I think it's been great having you on, Todd. Absolutely brilliant, and hopefully have you on again.
Thank you, mate. It's been a pleasure to meet you all, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks to you, Finn. I think it's a great idea.
All right, guys, everybody have a good Tuesday, and we'll speak to you all soon.
You too. Thanks, Todd.
Nice talking to you.
Take care, guys. If you enjoyed this call and you'd like to join us next time, we host these live weekly calls every week inside my community. It's entirely free to sign up and to join the calls, and I'll post a link below this video where you can join us.